So I want to get into real estate, but don't know where to start.
Well, what I would say is to join the Future Cash Flow Club. It's a community of investors where we talk about wholesaling, we talk about creative deal structuring, buying houses subject to, all of the creative stuff that everybody's talking about. You don't need a real estate license or any of that.
Wow, where do I sign up?
Well, I would say go to futurecashflowclub.com. That's futurecashflowclub.com. You can even get a free trial. Try it out today.
Hey Chris, is that you? Damn.
Can you hear me? I don't know. If you don't know who I am by now, I don't know what you've been doing. You been asleep? Let me wake you up with something. Straight up. Yeah. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Chris Monroe. R to the O-E. I flip houses, rent cars, and make money. You know I'm not no motherfucker dummy. This how we do. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? This is the student master teacher, Mr. I Stay Woke, Chris Cashflow Money Monroe, and I'm right back at you with another real estate video. We do this each and every Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, even though today happens to be Super Bowl Sunday. I'm messing up your halftime show with Bad Bunny. I don't know what he'd be saying, no way, just to be honest with you. But we are going to be talking about some good stuff tonight. We got a little presentation I'll have for you here shortly as well, talking about the top 12 things that mistakes you can make when you're doing a subject to deal. The top 12 mistakes. So I'm going to go over that here shortly. We got some people coming in here. Let's see what we got here. So yeah, so give this video a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a share if you care, because we up in there. What up, Big Art? Happy Super Bowl Sunday. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Chris?
You supposed to be watching the game.
It's in the background.
No, who you say was gonna win? Let me see what the score is first. Hold on. 6-0.
Man.
Who you say was gonna win?
I didn't even know who was playing in the Super Bowl till last night.
You worse than me. So we don't even know who in there. So let me fix this camera here. Boom. Yeah, I understand. It's you must follow basketball or something else.
I think I'm having a problem.
Yeah, your thing is kind of
with my-
buzzing out of shit.
What did you say?
Yeah, I was saying, who did you think was going to win that Super Bowl before it ends, even though we're just at halftime?
I'm gonna just say Seahawks.
Oh my God, yeah, me too. The only reason I'm gonna say it because I'm anti the Patriots because they cheated the Rams 20 years ago or something. So yeah, I'm still holding a grudge. I'm one of them that hold a grudge forever. So yeah, that's part of the game of life. We pick winners and pick losers, I guess. Anything interesting happened with you this week?
Yeah. Nothing super interesting. I got a couple leads in. I guess I'll talk briefly about one of the leads. It was this lady. Let me see if I can bring this up real quick.
I got a trick question for you too while you're looking. Who do you run into the most, ladies or men? Houses. Is it usually a lady or usually a man? Hockey person say,
Off the top of my head, it definitely seemed like it's more women homeowners.
Yeah, I would agree. And so, yeah, and it's a difference when you're dealing with those different types of homeowners,
I'm not
too.
sure what's going on with my internet.
Yeah, I would say drop out and come back in. Let me see here. And maybe it'll fix up. Yeah, so, when it comes to this real estate game, it's a lot of things. You can come across motivated sellers. You can come across sellers that don't really want to play ball at all, that's hard-nosed. I don't play the game of trying to make somebody want to work with me or trying to convince somebody, hey, you should work with me, man, because I'm going to save the day. I give you a chance to tell me what you're looking to accomplish by asking questions. They tell me what they want to do. I give them a solution to get them to that thing they want to do, and I let them make their decision. I don't do a lot of pressure or pushy sales tactics where you got to basically make somebody, hey, yeah, man, you got to do this deal now. Those type of deals to me don't feel so savory. I don't feel like it's those are the ones that I really want to deal with. I really want somebody who whether want to work with me versus me trying to convince them to work with me. You see what I'm saying? I like to flip the script. Really, you can even tell if you listen to any of my sellers calls at futurecashflowclub.com. If you take a listen to any of the actual calls when I talk to sellers, I try to ask them the question so they can open up and tell me exactly what they would like to happen before I try to sell them anything. Why are you trying to sell somebody something? You don't know what they want. If somebody tell you, hey, man, I want the new Jordans coming out. Oh, you do? I just happen to have a pair right here. Versus, oh, no, I don't like Jordan. I like Steph Curry or whatever. If they tell you they want something, find a way to give them that versus you trying to push something off on somebody. And this goes into more than just real estate. Real estate is just a big product that people, one of the biggest purchases a person can make in their life. And so we try to make it easy to do business with us by truly understanding what they want to accomplish. If you don't know what they want to do, what are we doing? I mean, you really got to ask yourself that. When you listen back to your calls, which everybody that's doing calls or doing any of this type of marketing, you need to listen to your calls. See how you sound on the phone. How can I make my questions more crisp? How do I stop leading the witness? A lot of people have that. I do it from time to time still. I try to get away from that too. Leading the witness. When you ask a question and you're telling them the answer in the question. Hey, I mean, I don't know. If I was you, I would do this, right? I mean, wouldn't you want to do that? I don't want to give them an answer. I'd rather give them a question and allow them to answer And when they answer, that's going to tell me all the things I need to use later on to close them in a deal. That's why we start off with the 4 pillars every time: the timeline, condition, motivation, price. We try to understand what's going on as far as their timeline. Hey, how soon are you looking to close if we can work everything out? If you understand that, you know what pace we need to be going at. Or they like, hey, I got an auction next week. I need to move quick. We know we need to move quick. If it's somebody like, oh, yeah, I'm just thinking about selling this summer, maybe in the spring, I'm not sure yet. Really? We might have to ask another question to get a little deeper. Why are you waiting to that time? What if you could sell it now and not have to worry about it later? Certain little pinpoint questions, once you ask the overview questions, can get a better lesson. So that's kind of what I try to aim at when it comes to dealing with these people. I like what's seems like a pretty good whatever they're
Can't hear you, Chris.
Is audio on now?
Yeah, that's good now.
What the? Hope it was on before. You never know. Hope it was on before because we're trying to score. So you said you had a deal you were working on, Art, a lead or an opportunity?
Yeah, one of the leads I got this week is this property in this city called Valparaiso. It's a really nice city in my market. Long story short, is the lady's behind on her payment. Um, so she's behind about what she said, 10 months, and then her monthly payment is 18.90 a month, and then she has 2 HOAs on this property.
How the heck
Uh,
that happen?
what you say?
How the heck did that happen?
I'm not sure. She did text me and she said one of them was with Aberdeen and one's with something else. But long story short, the 2 HOAs, their payments total is $340 per month. And she said one of those payments is about to go up. But she's willing to walk away from the payment. I talked to her about taking over making her payment. She's open to that. Um, so I just got to look at some numbers and see if it can possibly make sense, basically.
So is this a deal you're thinking about staying in or just moving on and letting somebody else take it over?
I'm thinking about staying in this deal.
Yeah. Well, make sure to get the bylaws to the HOA to see what you can do with that property. HOAs kind of scare me, just to be honest, because I've dealt with them and they do some tricky stuff. I even found out here in St. Louis, they had they called it a sheriff's sale. It was an HOA sale, but it wasn't a regular foreclosure like we're always talking about, regular mortgage foreclosure. It was an HOA foreclosure. And it was not like published anywhere. I didn't see it in the newspaper. I didn't see it anywhere. And the only reason I even knew about it because the seller told me. I was like, what kind of stuff is this? And they had an HOA that was charging them like $700 a month. Her HOA was more than her mortgage payment. And I was like, yeah, we can't take that over. I'm like, nah. And the numbers didn't work. So I don't know what she ended up doing with that condo, but it's kind of sad. You know, these HOAs are homeowners associations are doing what they want to these people.
Yeah. So just off the conversation and her telling me what's going on with it, I was thinking the numbers probably ain't gonna work with 340, and one of those payments is about to go up. But I'm gonna just at least do my due diligence on it anyway and just see what it looks like.
That's all we can do. Work the process. That's why we have a process. So we don't overthink or over process anything. We just put it through the process.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned something there about the payment going up. I think I got 3, maybe 4 houses that's payments going up this year.
Because of taxes?
Yeah, one of them was from insurance, and I think the other 2 was from taxes or something to that effect. I'm still looking over it now, but I seen as of March 1st, I got a couple properties going up. I'm not happy about that. So this is why when I talk about doing the lease options, when we exit and put up tenant buyer in these properties, I don't like to go more than 2 to 3 years out. Because if we go too much further out, be like, oh, 5 years, 6 years, some long term, we don't have a way to go up on the payment. We don't have a way to go up in the event that our escrow go up, because they say it's an escrow shortage. That's what they call it. They sent a little letter. I was going to have it. I'll bring it next week or whenever I get a chance. They got the letter that says, hey, yeah, your payment is going up. You can either pay this $2,000 or whatever the amount was, or we're going to increase your monthly payment to cover your shortage with the mortgage company. So that's important. When we're doing these lease options, I don't like to do more than 2 to 3 years out for that particular reason. Have you seen something like that yet?
Yes. One of my properties, when I bought it, the taxes on it was like 600 and something per year. And sometime last week, those taxes jumped up to like over 1,800 a year. So they tripled.
Really?
And of course, that cuts into the cash flow.
Yeah. I don't like it.
Fortunately, I was already making, over 800 a month in cash flow on that property. So it's not a huge hit, but it is something. It's definitely something to consider too when we're buying properties, because if we're buying something that has a very small cash flow to begin with, then when these things happen, you can be upside down.
For sure. For sure. I definitely don't want to be upside down. I don't want to be negative cash flowing, which that is a strategy. I'm not going to say that's not something you should never, ever do. There are times I have dealt with properties that are negative cash flow or even or no cash flow, but I had so much spread on the front end that it was worth it. And it was something temporary. I don't want to stay in them long term on it because, you're playing kind of with fire. Let's say get you 30,000 down and you can figure it out, right? The math is the math. Numbers don't lie. What's going on, Jimmy? How are you?
Chris?
What
was that?
You watching the game that Super Bowl Sunday?
No, I'm not actually. I have no idea what the hell's going on, honestly. That's why I'm here, trying to learn something.
I know that's right. The Seahawks up 9-0. So yeah, just a little
okay. I was for the Seahawks anyways.
Yeah, I'm never for the Patriots. I'm a
Are you doing art?
Yeah. Anything interesting happened with you this week?
Yeah, I would say so. As you know, I got a house under contract.
Well, let's stop right there. Applaud you for that. Because people don't never do that.
I know. Yeah, what a shocker.
I got one under contract. Congratulations on that first.
Why? Thank you, guys. It was I got a assist actually. I actually alley-ooped it up to Justin, my closer, and he slam dunked it. So
you try to
can't take all the credit.
Did you try to close it yourself?
Yeah, a few times. Actually, a couple times, and then the third time, it wasn't going to be a few. I was like, let me just. Hey, it's fourth quarter. Got 2 minutes on the clock. Kobe's in. All right, let me just get the ball to Kobe.
Why even play around, right? So
yeah.
What was his big hang up or his big objection that would seem to be something you couldn't overcome at first?
At first, what was the objection at first? There was a few objections, I think. At first, it was timing. He really wanted to stay in the house for as long as he could to get his next house set up, his next living situation figured out. And, I would have gone with it the first day. I was like, sure, if that's what you need. Just tell me what you need. Let me lock it up. I can help you out. And he still hesitated. He just wouldn't. I got him to the point where I was like, okay, go ahead and get your paperwork. Let's go ahead and take care of this. And then that's where he dug his heels in. And I couldn't get him past that barrier, where he just wouldn't bring down his paperwork. Whether he had it or not, I'm not sure. So I was like, hey, you know what? It's okay.
So you said one of his objections was timing. He's trying to figure out where he's moving to. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, he wants to go back near his mom in Madison, Illinois. And he's got a house next to her that he wants. I don't know if he's acquired the house. He was very vague on the whole scenario. He said there was a house, it's all boarded up, that he's going to move into and fix it up, but very vague. And I was like, okay, let me help you out with that. Like, what do you need? Like, how much time do you need? And then the next objection was just getting his mortgage paperwork to me. Like, hey, bring it down. I couldn't get him to bring it.
So when somebody tells me, hey, yeah, I'm looking to move near my mom, what he told you, my question for him is always a question. Everything I talk about is always, what question should I be asking? Mr. Seller, what is the challenge you're coming across that's stopping you from moving next to your mom? And let him tell me.
Right.
Versus me even lending any help yet. And I don't know if you did that or not. And I'm just trying to make sure we keep this in a framework so we keep in position. Because if they feel that you're greedy and you're like salivating, looking at them like, yeah, I got him locked up, man. They can feel that. And I don't want them to feel that from me. I want to understand everything they're saying before I even offer anything.
I didn't want to take up your whole night with this very long scenario, because let's just say we burned 2 hours 2 days in a row. So, we cut it up. There was a long story to it.
I understand. And that's why I'm trimming the fat now, so we can understand what to do next time we come across whatever objection. Ask them the question.
For sure.
Seller, what is the challenge you're coming across that's stopping you from moving next to your mom? Once we understand that, that's the objection we need to handle, not whatever they're telling you the other stuff. Does that make sense?
For sure. Understood. 10-4. We can dig into that if you want.
So what was the challenge that was stopping them from moving?
So he's got a huge dog, like a huge bull mastiff, and his mom loves the dog, but she's got like kids and like another person living with her that he's like, I don't want to move in because I have my dog, and that's just going to create a problem. And I was like, cool. Well, what about that place you want to get set up? How soon is it to get livable? He's like, well, I got to talk to my buddy Kevin next week. And then he's got to talk to another guy, and then we got to go to the place. And I was just like, okay, so it's going to take more than just 4 weeks. It's going to take, maybe a couple months for you to get this figured out. And I was like, by that time you're going to be foreclosed on, what can we do to speed this up? How can I help you? And yeah, he was just, couldn't give me any direct answers until he talked to his buddy, Kevin. So that's where we started to talk about the deal. Yeah, go ahead.
When I think about what you just said there, I have another question that pops in my brain automatically. It just pops in. I can't resist.
Okay.
What happens if what's supposed to happen doesn't happen? What happens if Kevin can't help you? You see how you stay in position by that question versus me trying to come in and offer anything. Still in discovery mode before we get to, I gotta help you. Yeah, you got an auction. We know you got an auction. We're gonna use that later. But I need to understand what happens if that doesn't work out. What's your backup plan? Yeah.
So when I bring up questions like that, and that's a good tactic, I like it. I often get outlandish answers, like the VA actually stopped my foreclosure last year. They're going to do it again. That's what they do. I know this guy, he's just going to call up Mr. Cooper, my lender, and then they're going to take care of it like they did the time before. It's all good. And then if I do that, they said that I'm going to have another 6 months, and then they're going to give me actually $2,000 for me to move out. And I'm just like, he's just talking all this nonsense. And I'm like, I don't think break that down for me, because I don't understand how that happens. I
gotcha. So let's just say, so what if he told me what you just said right there? So you're telling me if you had $2,000, you're ready to move forward today. Is that what you're telling me? I shut all that down. Everything he just came with, all I heard was they're gonna give him $2,000 to move. So I'm gonna ask the question at that point. If you had $2,000 today, would you be able to go ahead and just move?
Well, actually, I owe $10,000, on my mortgages,
We have strategies to deal with all that. And you're in a better position. So and we can handle all of that stuff. We specialize in these situations. But my question for you is, how do we get you to the next step? What you think about all that, Art?
Yeah, solid, very, very good advice for sure.
Yeah, good tactics.
So, I know they want to tell us the long story, and we got to listen to some of the story, but we have to pick out of that story what should we be asking them to get them to where we need them to go. I know they got a lot of noise and they throw a lot of curveballs and a lot of stuff
Yeah.
at, and they do that on purpose, and it's normal because they're stressed out. You're in foreclosure. That's stressful.
I learned a lot through this these several interactions, and then finally the third interaction when the deal was done, it was like a completely different scene. So the first two times I made several mistakes, and one was I never sat down. I was kind of led around like a puppy by him. He's the homeowner. Like I'm trying to be super nice to him because obviously I'm being cordial, trying to understand him, letting him tell his whole story, and I don't want to feel like I'm coercing him or anything, right? So that's why I spent so long and getting nowhere. But when I went the third time with Justin, it was very direct. It was like, boom, Justin, first thing he did was sit down, like beeline to the table. I didn't do that. I was just like walking around following this guy, standing.
And this is why we have that saying, and I want you to remember this, Jimmy, for future things.
Yeah.
He who asks the questions is in control of the conversation. Even though they're telling us a bunch of stuff, if we ask a question, we're steering them where we want them to go. Versus they're trying to take us all over around the block, telling us all this stuff. And that's what Justin did, right? Or what did Justin go over there and say that was special?
Oh, man. I mean, he basically said the same shit I said. Excuse my language, but it was just how he delivered it and how he commanded the conversation to cut through the stories. Like you were saying, he pinpointed what he wanted to hear from the story and just offered that. And it was magic because he we turned it around in like less than an hour. So, like you were saying, exactly, it's just how you ask the questions and what questions you ask, at the right time. And I wasn't asking the right questions. I kept asking questions that led into more stories. I'm not on point to to cut to the deal, like right then and there. And then getting the paperwork, man, that was a challenge. And we never really did get the final paperwork. He did finally bring down paperwork for Justin, but like I couldn't get him to bring it down.
So what was the problem with getting paperwork? Let's talk paperwork now.
Right.
What was the issue that stopped him from getting paperwork?
For me, it was like he didn't have it and he had to like get it. Like he had to like, oh, I gotta go get some emails, make some calls. I gotta get it to you, this and that.
Are you able to log in on your phone? We can get it from there right now. Log into your phone. What stopped him from doing that?
Right.
I'm just, and this is a question. See, I don't know the answer to this. He will justify why he can't do that to me.
He would start pacing back and forth and start coming up like, well, I'm waiting on this meeting here in like 30 minutes. So like basically pushing me out the door at that point. So every time I pressured him, it was like he was starting to push me out the door, like he has something else to do, and that's where I like let him get some slack instead of like, hey. Like, sit down, let's get this done. Like, pull it out, pull it out on your phone. What's, like you're saying, there's nothing hard to do.
Yeah. And so we use that more so too. I try to use it as a gauge of motivation. Mr. Seller, we have solutions to your problems. If you're ready to move forward, what we need is this. Are you able to provide this? Are you ready to move forward? If not, don't let me waste my time over 3 hours messing with you. This is why I don't like going to see sellers, by the way. This is why I like virtual. I can be on the phone, on a computer, chilling out in the comfort of my own home or office and do these types of deals. Is that what you do too, Art?
Yes, my favorite way. I hate meeting people. I do it when I have to, but I do everything I can to not meet people.
And you know what? I probably could have wrapped it up on the phone because we had a nice conversation on the first time we interacted on the phone too. So I called him. It was a cold call, no answer. And then like an hour and a half later, he called me back and was like, who's this? Like, somebody called me from this number. And then I was like, oh yeah, I think I did. Like, are you this guy from here and here? And, he told me his whole story basically on the phone. And then I was like, hey, can I get like pictures of the phone? Like, what's the condition? He's like, can you come over? He's like, why don't you come over here at 10 a.m.? I was like, okay, that's like in 2 hours. Sure. And then it went from there. So but you're right. I could have locked it up on the phone.
At that point, and I don't mean to cut you off, but even at
Nope.
that point,
Mhm.
if I come to your house, I'm not coming to see your house. I'm coming to buy your house. You have to ask that question. If I come over at 10 o'clock, like you say, and everything makes sense, are you ready to get the process started today? We're getting commitments, many micro commitments before we start doing a bunch of jumping through hoops for people.
True. And I'm too naive, and I'm like young in the game, so I'm just like, any interaction, please, just let me get in front of the damn seller. You know, like I've been thirsting for it because I've been on the phone, knocking on doors and getting nothing. So this guy wants to talk to me. I'm like, I'll be right there. Instead of being composed and like, you know, setting myself for the deal, I was just rushing into it. Like, let me see what I can do for you. You know.
Yeah. And ain't nothing wrong with it. It's part of the learning, you know. These are the things you learn as you do deals, as you matriculate in the business.
This is huge.
You heard anything else that sound interesting out of that, Art? Anything you would have did differently?
Jimmy's taking. I would definitely try to get it done over the phone, but it sounds like Jimmy is, taking a lot of action though. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from it. Like, just, have you marketing, door knocking over the phone. It can be done all kind of ways. So
yeah, thank you.
Got to put that work in, and Jimmy's doing it.
That's right. Get that phone ringing. Get that lead generated.
Yeah. I want to win, but like just getting this far in the process and learning the process up to this point is giving me confidence. Is like, that's already valuable there. But yeah, I do want to win. I don't know how to figure this one out though. I'm gonna need a lot of support from Justin on this one, because I feel like if Justin wasn't there, I might have gotten myself into a deal that was a no deal. Because
all the time.
Yeah, because of my noviceness, like, agreeing to letting the tenant stay for 3 months, carrying the low, it's just the carrying costs and everything. It was just a bad. I was just agreeing because I was like, let me help you. Okay, let me lock it up. But then whenever I sat back and thought about it, I was like, what was I going to get myself into? That would have been a really big mistake. So Justin was like, hey, look, like, you don't need any of those things. Like, he's down to the wire and about to be foreclosed on. Like, he can let it go for less than that. Like, let me talk to him.
Yeah, and I mean, they can, and this is why I don't really, I like them to tell their story, but I need to understand, where do they want to go, and then what are they afraid of? Like, sometimes you got to do what they call turn that knife. What's the pain that you are afraid of? What's stopping you from doing the thing you want to do?
Yeah.
We overcome that. Not all the whole backstory, and the VA might do this and they might do that. They might, but I've seen people that said the VA was going to help them and they didn't help them. So, we can't bank on that. We want to give you a for sure solution to your problem.
So I got in this bind here with this particular deal, right? So the seller is under the impression that we're going to take it off him for what he owes, cash as is. Okay, that's what we got him on the agreement for. Okay. Cash as is for what he owes. Problem is his mortgage is very high. It's $2,400 a month, and he owes, to be disclosed. I don't know.
All of that can be handled though. That's the beauty of this. I like problems like this because everybody else don't know what to do. They get frustrated. Bring legal problems with real estate. This is what we specialize in.
Gotcha. Justin, yeah, totally. So definitely going to need a little bit more of a expert, guidance on this, because I need to market it well, and that's not something that I'm good at. So, yeah.
That's the thing. So you said, for one, he has arrears. We have multiple strategies to deal with the arrears on a loan. Not a big deal. We can deal with that. What was the other issue you said that's a problem? The price?
The mortgage is high for me to keep in cash flow, for somebody. So it's got to be like the particular buyer, pool is starting to narrow just because of how high the mortgage is.
What about the it may be high for a investor, but it may not be high for somebody to live there.
Word. Okay.
So you got to remember that we're dealing with two things. When we get into the creative space, the
Right.
whole marketplace is who we're marketing to, not just investors. Because I don't mind dealing with
Right.
investors. They're cheap generally. They look
Sure.
at it like, oh no, I can't cash flow. A person that want to live there looking like, no, I pay more than that now, and I live in a box, and it's a big
Sure.
3-story building or something, right? So
Yeah.
we can't think for the marketplace. We have to go for it.
Totally understand that. But let me back it up for just one step. He thinks we're taking care of it cash clean, like he's going to be off the hook, because his last hurdle that Justin was able to overcome was that he didn't want the VA loan to be under his name.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we got it locked up as a cash, but we're going to need to finance it somehow creatively.
So it's a couple of things with that. So if somebody tells me they need to get that VA loan out of their name, my question is, what makes you say that? Why do we need that VA loan out of his name?
Because he thinks in about a few years or a couple of years, unknown set of time, that he may need to dip into that loan.
So if there was a way we can structure it where you're still able to use your VA benefits, would you be willing to leave the loan in your names now? It's a question.
That's a good question.
Understand what they want and ask them a question.
The reason why I can't answer or ask those questions is because I don't know the answer.
It's not saying that you need to know the answer. I didn't give an answer. I just asked a question. You ain't hear me give an answer really to none of this stuff all day. All I've been doing is asking questions.
No. Like if he were to agree, I wouldn't know how to give him what he wants. Is what I'm trying to say. So I wouldn't be able to perform.
Let me make sure we're doing this again right for the people in the back.
Okay.
If there was a way we can help you with your VA benefits, and sell your house and leave this loan in your name, are you ready to get the process started today? It's a question. I didn't say I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it. I didn't promise you that I was going to do it. All I asked was a question. Is that making sense?
Okay.
So don't think about the overwhelming part on the back. We have strategies for everything. If there was a way, that's all I said. I didn't say I'm going to promise you I'm going to do this. I didn't say I'm paying it off cash and closing fast. I didn't make any statements. I asked a question.
Right. Okay.
See, when you put yourself in a question position, it keeps you out of trouble.
Okay.
Not saying we can promise anything. We're just asking, if there was a way, would you do it? And let him answer. He said, well, if there was a way, yeah, I'll be open to that. Okay. we go for it still. And we find a way to make it happen. And if we can't make it happen, we can always back out. That's the beauty of all of this. It's just, what it is. We have a due diligence period. We have an inspection period. I'm not saying we're looking to back out of any deal, but we should not be afraid of putting it under contract, figuring it out like Justin does. Right, Justin?
Yes, sir. We making it happen, man.
You're wearing your blue, I'm wearing my red.
It's like you want red more and more now.
Yep. Yeah, we were just talking about the deal you were helping them with over there on that guy. He was telling us about how
a lot of lessons this week. A lot of lessons.
Yeah.
Hey, look, what's funny is I was telling Jimmy we went to go knock on the door or whatever, right? And literally we knocked on the door, the guy didn't answer. We know he in the house though. So we walk away from the front and the guy lets his dog out. So he might have been, this house has like 3 floors. And I'm like, I'm nudging Jimmy, like, go ahead, Jimmy, let's do it. And he like, he a little bit hesitant because you know how it can be a little socially awkward to catch a person coming outside like, hey, so
yeah.
And then the guy ended up posturing like to let us in. And Jimmy like waiting on the invite in. I'm like, Jimmy, just go in. So that was crazy. But Jimmy is very, very polite.
I gotta be cordial. I try to show respect, when I'm in another person's home,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Justin, was there a lot of objections that you had to overcome when dealing with this particular lead?
Yeah, so the guy really didn't have that many objections and stuff. It really was, the solution was the creative thing, right? So the solution was the creative thing. And basically based on Jimmy going in there trying to inform him and try to get him on board with the creative thing. He may have over presented it, or the guy maybe don't fully understand creative and stuff like that. So the guy had all kind of objections to that. I saw I wasn't going to get anywhere with that, so I'm just like, hey, let's just go, let's do this cash offer just to get him under some type of paperwork, some type of commitment and stuff, and then kind of like go back and we'll renegotiate and go from there. But won't be there home for long, right? Exactly. So just some of the stuff I like to address and talk about in this call and everything. One of the things is, I would say we let other people deal with the more so expert analysis of things and stuff. So like, it's not good to give definitive answers on certain things that you're not an expert in. For example, Jim, the guy had asked about, he wanted to get a second VA loan, right? And Jimmy first response to him was Jimmy trying to be overly honest, and then being that you're not being accurate, and I want to kind of kill this perception too of that we are manipulating people or not being upfront. We're not loan officers. We can't tell people what they can and can't do in the future. Laws change every 2 years, every 4 years. You got state laws, you got federal laws. We don't know what the future gonna happen. We don't know if we're gonna have another, crash, economy, all of that different type of stuff. So one of the things that Jimmy had responded to the guy with was basically that you can't, he was like, in my honest opinion, you can't get a loan, a second VA loan in the future while we have, your mortgage. And
so Justin, if this happened in the future to somebody else, what should the correct answer be if somebody don't know the answer?
Right. Hey, that's a great question. I definitely would love to, research and see how we can get some more information to you about that. I haven't dealt with that, but what we've done in the past is we've helped other people like this, helped them out in a similar situation as you, and the bank may have requested a letter, showing that they're no longer responsible for their debt. We provided that, and then they was able to get, a secondary loan.
Right. That's it. Give them either a third-party story, or you can refer to your third-party closer. Hey, I don't know. That's a good question. But I do have my partner, Justin, here. He can help break that down for you. Defer to somebody else. You don't have to know all the answers to everything. You know what? That's a good question. I'm going to check with my title company. I think they can do that. You don't have to know all the answers to everything. You can understand how to defer. Let's look into that. Or what I told Jimmy before you got on here, Justin, if there was a way we can do that, is that something you'd be ready to move forward with? Right. Before we even try to tell them we can or can't. If there was a way, would we do? Would you be ready to go and move forward with this now? And let them answer the question. It's not a big deal. We figure it out.
Right. That's a great point. You going for the close right then and there. If that's the real objection that they have, you going straight for the, hey, if I'm able to get the answer to you, you ready to go? And they like, yeah, you just seek the information and everything. I had a situation, one of the properties I took over last year, the condo. In that situation, that woman was under the presumption that she wasn't going to be able to qualify for another loan because she had the condo loan. And what ended up happening was I got her with an agent and a loan officer, and they got her through. And even when I talked to Art about this, he was saying something about there is situations where they convert the old loan to conventional or something like that. And then, they can go and get, the VA loan or different stuff like that. So there's little tidbits of information that you really don't know until you've actually experienced that and stuff. So I just wouldn't commit to an answer with anything like that, especially trying to be too honest, but in being honest, we want to be accurate as well.
So be honest, but don't be giving out information when we really don't know. If you don't know, you don't know, right?
True.
No reason to try to make it up like, oh, I know all the answers. I don't know nothing on every call. I just know to ask questions. Even if I know the answer, I'm still asking questions.
And then isolate the objection. Is that the only reason is that the only thing that'll keep you from moving forward? Yeah, that is. Okay, well, let's go get that information. Let me make a phone call. Let me go do this. Let's Google it,
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I guess before going into this conversation with the guy, I followed up on like Pace. I'm a Pace Morby student, So like I watched his videos and whatnot, and when I was printing out the purchase and sale agreement, and it was a setup for a sub 2, organized as a sub 2 contract. He has 2 separate addendums that go along with that contract that he or advises to always have them sign up front along with the purchase and sales agreement, and that's how he trains it. And I don't, I'm in between, because like this is like a whole nother thing that I have to explain and deliver to a seller that I don't really feel comfortable with, and I just want to lock up the deal. So I was gonna, bypass that. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I'm gonna use this contract, it would be wise to follow through with all the steps that the guy who's training you how to follow through with the contract,
Well, you got
discloses.
part of that right though, Jimmy. Part of it is correct. Using the contract. Right. We got that, but here's the part you're missing. You know what part you're missing? Do you have an idea what you could be missing here?
I'm missing all the answers.
No. Pace Morby uses a transaction coordinator. He don't deal in paperwork. Why are you dealing in paperwork? If you don't know, we hire third-party people that are experts in this stuff. Not saying you have to do this, but I just want to make sure you understand. His process is totally different from what you just described. He uses a transaction coordinator to do all of his paperwork, so he don't have to think about the thing you just said you don't want to think about.
Not necessarily, but I know what you mean. Yeah, he does use him personally, but like it was just like instructional on how to fill out this purchase and sale agreement. It was like, here are the steps to fill out this purchase and sales agreement, and then it came with 2 addendums, and he was like, you must have these addendums signed, and on those addendums, it was like, hey, if you have this is a VA loan, you may not be able to have a second VA loan. Do you understand that? Not saying that you can't, is that you may not be able to. But me and my novice self.
He's using the transaction coordinator. So if you're going to adopt any system, no matter whose system you're using, you need to understand the system. His system does not involve him finding any paperwork or trying to convince somebody, hey, look right here. It says, they're not doing that. They're having a whole third party go through and say, hey, we're the transaction coordination team. We're going to run you through all the paperwork, and they're going to make that paperwork. So that's why I said we're getting a piece of the information, but not the full information. We can't take slips and pick what we want. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And another thing, that's up to them to get qualified. That's another thing. Like they have to go through and deal with the loan officer and figure out what's the qualifications for taking out the second mortgage and all of that stuff. And they may need, just proof that you're making those payments and stuff. And that might be all the bank is requiring. Every bank is different. Some banks might not even need that. Okay, you saying you're not making those payments anymore? Okay, cool. So.
Yeah, I got a lady like that right now trying to get this house over here, this big 4-bedroom house, not the one in Florissant, a different house. She's talking about she's already pre-qualified for a loan. I'm trying to put her on a lease option and then still use your loan. I'm just trying to get the house out of our possession, and you do whatever you want to do with your loan. I don't want to wait out there because I don't know what your appraisals, inspections, all of that stuff. I'm trying to put her in on a lease option. Then she can do her loan process and live in the house and do whatever she wants to do while she waits. Right. And so she were coming up with all the, oh yeah, but how they going to do this? And they need a bunch down. She putting 20% down on her loan, by the way. And, I was trying to show her that, this credit is going to reduce your loan balance. She put this 20,000 down. That's going to reduce her, whatever her loan is, by 20,000. And they can use that as a credit as her down payment for her loan. But I said, check with your loan person and make sure this is all going to go through that way. Because I would rather do it that way than go through the traditional way and put it under contract, wait for inspections, wait for appraisals, wait for this, red flag that, all the stuff that comes along with traditional financing. So we're going to see what happens with that by tomorrow. But this is just the game we play. I don't try to act like I know all the answers. I just give them a solution to the problem and see what they think.
There's another thing I want to talk about as well is, we helping out a lot of people, bringing a lot of people in. We doing the meetups and stuff, and people are excited and they actually want to get through the finish line. And one thing I've been seeing is that, there's nothing wrong with people wanting to do things themselves and everything. But there is a certain skill set that is required to get all the way through it, and I think that everybody, if you knew you coming on board, you calling me, Chris, or any of the other people who are on here who doing it and everything, you have to be committed to actually being walked through the process in its entirety, at least one time, at least once, because once we try to get so enthusiastic and, oh man, I'm about to make, $12,000, and we get so excited about doing something and keeping all of the money and stuff. And there's going to be plenty of deals. It's not just, if you committed to this thing, you're not just going to do one deal a year. You should be doing, 7, 8, 10 of these things a year, even as a, a part-time or whatever, and however you get there. But at least, let's humble ourselves, learn the process, get familiar with it. The only thing that made me slightly different is because I had a sales background. I was fully committed, 100% in. I was talking to Art and Chris every single day. Hey, I'm doing this. What y'all think about this? And then even some of my first deals that I even got through the finish line wasn't an actual wholesale closing. One of my first deals was helping contacting the guy across the street from me who had a vacant property out of town, and he paid me $2,500 to get me and my people to do a clean out. So my first actual money I made in these in the real estate was helping other landlords.
And that's the thing, there's more than one way to skin a cat. A lot of people don't be looking at that. They be thinking about, oh, I'm gonna make 50 grand. No, you may not make that on your first deal. You might, but if you don't understand all the moving parts, it's so much easier to be very good at generating leads. Get really good at generating leads, regardless of whatever closing or whatever strategy or whatever, all the back end TC work, all that distraction stuff is cute, but get really good at keeping a bunch of leads coming in. Hey, I got another lady. Hey, I got another man. Hey, I got this sister. Her twin want to sell it. Whatever. Keep the leads pumping and connect with a closer and keep closing deals. Don't worry about all the rest of that stuff. Everything else, stressing out about it, to be honest. And that's everybody.
And here's another thing. When I was, first making calls, making contacts with stuff, I had called like Chris, hey Chris, I got this house. It's on here over here on Southside on foreclosure list. Blah, 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 blah. And Chris went ahead and called that lead, called the agent on that property, and he got it under contract. He, came to the table, figured it out, fixed the deal or whatever. Chris still owned that property, and Chris paid me an assignment, looking out, hey, thanks for generating this for me. And that was cool. The thing is, if you're doing a sub 2 or whatever, like at that time, that house would have been a liability for me to take over. Straight up. Chris got the resources, he got the furniture connect, all of that stuff. He was able to put that house in a situation where it was actually an asset and not a liability. But if I would have been so gun-ho about making money, oh my God, this is my first deal, and Chris, let me get it. I probably would have been going to foreclosure myself.
That's messed up.
No, I think I was like really, really this close to tripping over that same trap that you just described. Yeah, so falling right into that.
Even with this property, the guy owes for Jimmy brought this to the table. We spent 2 days, 4 hours with this guy, and he had it in his mind. If he would have signed that contract on that second visit, I wouldn't have been able to tell Jimmy nothing. He was taking that deal down, and it was nothing I could say to convince him otherwise. And he would have been paying. Jimmy would have been over there paying $2,400 a month for a product while he marketed, because that guy ain't got no money, and that guy would have been staying in that property for about
3 months,
90 days, and Jimmy over there paying the payment. So, that would have been a liability. Chris talk about this all the time, is don't change positions with the seller.
Never.
$2,400 a month for a property, a subject to deal, that's a lot of, monthly. And to be honest, I was telling Jimmy, I'm like, I wouldn't even take that over for my portfolio right now. I'll probably look for a guy like Chris who got, the system to support that type of those type of payments.
Yes,
like, Chris, how can I help you fill this vacancy?
4 months, you 10,000 deep. Real quick.
Oh, buddy.
What's the rent rate in that area?
It's pretty good. It's a pretty desirable area. It's the Gate District, but it borders Lafayette Square, which is like a ritzy part of St. Louis, you know? So it's like it's set up in a manner where it's like a luxurious townhome, but it's like perfect location for an Airbnb. But I would not Airbnb it myself.
What kind of condition is it in? Is it move-in ready or need some work? Or
it's an excellent, but no, well, I would say great condition, but it needs paint. Like, and there's one part that he said he had water damage from a storm, but the insurance company took care of that, but he didn't fix the drywall. So
he kept
the drywall. Yeah, probably. But yeah.
Let me rephrase my question real quick.
Yeah.
What's the rent rate in that area?
The rent rate is, I don't know what you mean by that, but I think it's like honestly, the comp's really hard to see. I seen single family for $1,800 a month, but it's not like furnished, you know, like $1,600 to $1,800 a month for a house that's a 3-bedroom house. But this one is more. This is like a 3-bedroom, 3 full baths, 2 half baths, 3 stories tall. This is like a unique house that I can't find a comp that matches it.
Can it be divided up to like multiple units, or is more?
No. You think so? Because everybody has to come through the same staircase, or the same. You wouldn't be able to chop it up. That particular house. You could rent by the room because it's close enough to like SLU, universities and hospitals, and it's like really close to like where everybody wants to be, which is like SLU and Lafayette.
You said his payment is $2,400.
Yeah.
Why is it so high?
Because it's like a luxurious ass
$350,000 is what he purchased it for.
Right.
You already got his mortgage statement too?
Nah,
we're working on that.
Because is his payment really $2,400? I mean, I'm just asking you.
Right. It might be taxes and
Good question.
The information. I just want to get the ball rolling on me, give him what he want, go on the back end, beat him up and stuff. We working on. We gonna get there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things I want to reiterate again is just for all my people who coming in here and your goal is to make money. You like, hey, I'm going into wholesaling and I want to make money. Do not take over a house if you do not have money. For real, like unless you're able to get everything together creatively and put it together, you know, that's cool. But don't feel that you were got or cheated because you got, you know, somebody came in with their expertise, they helped you out, and then they gave you an assignment. And then they took over the house. Like that is not a loss. There's a victory for you. If your goal is to make money, your goal cannot be strictly to go into these properties and be like, oh, I have to take this house. If you can't afford it, you just looking for cash. When I first started doing this and introing with Chris and everything, Chris like, what you want to do with this deal? I'm like, man, I'm just looking to get some cash right now. If I could just get a little cash, you know, we can figure everything else out from there. So you know, that's the thing. If you like Chris talking about, you know, breaking up the house and, you know, doing different things with that to fix the deal and make it, you know, a deal for him. Hey, that's probably going to be the guy to give it to. He going to furnish it out. You know, you talking about thousands of dollars in furniture. You know, I don't have, for example, I don't have an Airbnb profile. Chris already has an Airbnb profile. And you would get there and stuff. There's nothing wrong with starting at one point. But if you looking for cash, you know, taking on assets might not be your thing. You might need to just find somebody who's willing to take over that risk and stabilize it. And it's not a loss. If you walk away with $4,000 to $6,000 for finding a deal for somebody, that is a win.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of creative deals is like that. Your assignment fees aren't typically that high on most seller finance or substitute properties compared to cash, in my experience. So,
what market are you in?
I'm based out. My name is Brock. That's what you guys. I'm based out of Indiana, Ohio.
Indiana. Oh, you up there by Art?
Yep. I live in Avon. If you knows where Avon, Indiana is. So
Yeah, that's down by Indianapolis, ain't it?
yeah, it's about 40 minutes west from like downtown Indianapolis. No, I say close to about 25, 30. Um, but yeah, I've been watching Chris since like college. Like it's been like 4 years. So I focus the content, man. I had to kind of wait until I actually start making some money before I come on here and start trying to talk. Um, but yes, I've done some. Yeah, if you don't got no closing costs, no rehab, please do not. I tried that. Don't do it. You need to have the money for it for sure. So they tell you the truth. Because I've tried that before.
Brock, what you in a restaurant?
Cooking lounge, you can tell.
Yeah, they got all background noise.
All background noise. Yeah, I saw y'all on. I tried hopping on the other night. I was like, man, it's like, I think I hopped in like 15 minutes, 10 minutes to you guys engines. I was like, oh, shit, I'll hop on the next day then.
Yeah. Glad you was able to jump in today.
For sure.
I do have a small presentation for you all here. We're going to be talking about some creative. I'm going to mute this background. What I have here is the most common mistakes made when buying houses subject to. Common mistakes. It's the mistakes people make over and over and over again. And I try to help you, to avoid making those mistakes. Because some mistakes can be avoided, especially if you know about them before you do it. It makes it so much easier. You can use this later as a template if you need to come back and look at. Got a few little things in here for you. So, like I say, it's the 12 biggest mistakes investors make when buying houses subject to.
Can I guess one?
You'll probably see them all. Well, it's a bunch, but we got a bunch of them in here. So just for people that may not know, that may be watching the replay or maybe new to real estate, like, oh, what is subject to? Basically, we're buying a house, taking over the property, the ownership, the deed is transferring to us, and the loan is staying in the seller's name. Very simple. We make the mortgage payments. It's a powerful strategy that we can use to accumulate real estate without having to go get loans, qualifying for loans, getting our tax returns, W-2s, bank statements, all the stuff they tell you that you need to buy real estate. You don't need your credit to buy real estate. I'm a living witness. I have a VA loan that I've never used and I can't use, I don't think. And I've never used any loans to buy real estate. So people tell you that you need to do this stuff. You don't need to do any loans to buy real estate. It's a myth. You don't need a bunch of money to do real estate. It's a myth. You need skills and strategy, which we're talking about today. Mistake number one, not verifying the loan terms. And this is why, and all this stuff I'm talking about is usually before you close the deal. We need to confirm the loan balance. How do we do that? Get the mortgage statement. We're verifying the interest rate, knowing the payment amount. Remember, I was just asking about that $2,400 on that deal we were just speaking about, because sometimes the seller says $2,400 and you look, it's $2,800. Like, damn, you told me $2,400, man. It's way higher than what you said. We don't want to do that, so that's a no-go. We want to also check escrow shortages, which is very important. I just got a couple of letters in the mail before y'all jumped on. Me and Art was talking about. I have about 3 properties that are going up in payment starting next month. Their payment is going up. Escrow shortages. You know what that is, Jimmy? You heard of that before? He like, no, don't even throw me on the hot seat. So that's basically, Art, you want to give us an explanation what that is a little bit from your perspective?
Yeah, what I believe this is, so basically like escrow, they taking out a set amount every month to make it all add up at the end whenever they doing their big pulls or whatever. But long story short, if like the payments on your taxes go up or something, then it's going to be a discrepancy on what they taking out and how much is actually coming out. I seen this on one of mine before, so this is why I think this is what this is. Am I right, Chris?
100%. So, yep, that's a shortage of escrow. So your loan payment is made up of PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Principal and interest kind of stays the same because it's fixed if you have a 30-year fixed loan. But when it comes to taxes, that may change every year, every other year, every 3 years, depending on your market in your county. I think they say Chicago and some other places that keep going up higher, but that's a whole nother story. Taxes, the T goes up. Insurance can go up, like the people in Florida. They say you can't get insurance or it's too high. Insurance, looked at my statement, one of mine that I got a letter on, my insurance went up on the new premium for the new year. It went up a little bit. So that increased my payment if I was going to keep my PITI payment the same. The bank is going to pay it, just to be clear. This is how we get a shortage. The bank is going to pay that escrow shortage, and you're going to be responsible for the difference in it, and that's why you get a shortage. Sometimes you get an overage where they send you money back. So it just depends. That's one of the things. You got to verify the loan terms before you close on these subject to deals. Make sense? Mistake number 2, not checking property condition. Hidden repairs, mechanical systems, walk through before the closing. There can be a family member living in the property. There can be pets still in the house. 15 dead dogs like Justin found, right? Didn't you find that in the house, Justin? 15 dead dogs in the house. Yikes. You don't want to do that. You want to confirm all this stuff before signing and funding any subject to deal. Very important. Have you run into anything like this before, Art?
Yeah, I bought a property one time and didn't check the pipes on it. Never gonna do that again.
So you had to fix it, huh?
Well, a tenant buyer was gonna fix it, and then she didn't. So now I'm gonna probably fix it and put somebody else in there. Or is this gonna put it out on the handyman special?
Part of the game, man. It all can happen. Confirm condition.
Handyman special. That's what I found snakes.
You found snakes in the house?
Yeah, it was in Muncie, Indiana. If you know what, if you guys have an idea what that is, the guy was hoarding. He was lying. It was a divorce. He made it sound like, oh, it's in great condition. This is in the beginning. I went out there and couldn't find out the health department was out there waiting outside for some reason. So apparently, I talked to the lady. We went inside the house. And I had the keys. He was hoarding snakes, like he bred animals and snakes. And his wife gave him the house for a reason because it was so bad. You go in there with it was like skins everywhere, cages. Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I was like, I see why he didn't want to send me any photos. So that's the worst I've seen. Dead dogs are wild, but them snakes, that's a smell so badly.
Thank you.
And this is why I say all the time, never trade places with the seller. We need to understand the condition of the property. Very important on that particular note. Mistake number 3, over communication with the seller, being too anxious, being a greedy seller. Sound like somebody I know. Is his name Jimmy? Don't be a motivated buyer. If you're too motivated, too anxious with the seller, they can definitely understand it. Over communication, seller will second guess and they won't close with you. They might back out at the last minute. So it's very important to lead with confidence, stay calm and professional, ask good questions, be a good listener, solve their problems. You got to solve their problems or the whole close won't even matter at that point. And that's the way we play the game right there. So don't be anxious. Don't be a motivated seller or buyer. Don't be a motivated buyer to the seller. Mistake number 4 is too many documents, overwhelming them with paperwork in the beginning. It creates confusion. It makes trust issues. Keep the documents simple and plain. Now, I got a question, and I know Art might know this. I don't know. Jimmy might know. No, I don't know. Jimmy may not. I'm going to see if Art knows. Art, what are the 2 documents we're going to start with if we're going to do a subject to deal with the seller?
2 documents we start with for a sub 2 deal are the purchase and sale agreement, the long form, and then the other one is going to be the authorization to release information. And then we're also going to ask them to get us a copy of their most recent mortgage statement as soon as possible.
For sure, 100%. Number 1 answer, Art. That's it. The 2 things we want to get are the purchase agreement and the authorization to release, which is AKA a third-party bank letter. The reason we only do these 2 documents to start it off is because we don't want to overwhelm with all that paperwork. We want them to go ahead and sign to be under contract. Now we have equitable interest to purchase the property. And then we want to get that third party authorization. Now we can speak to the bank on their behalf to understand what's going on with their situation. We can call the bank. Hey, what's the payoff? What's the loan interest rate? And like Art said, always get that mortgage statement if you can too. That makes it a lot easier. But I like to do these two things first. All those other disclosures, all that other paperwork, stacks of stuff is signed off at closing. Notarized at closing. Very important. Because if you give them all this stuff up front, they might get scared. Say, oh man, this is a lot. I need an attorney to review all this. And I don't want them to have an excuse or create an objection. What do you think about all that, Jimmy?
Now, after my past experience, I definitely learned my lesson. Definitely don't overwhelm them with paperwork. And actually, I overwhelm myself with the paperwork more than anyone.
That part.
So let's just keep it simple. Keep it just simple, straight to the purchase and sale agreement, long form, and the agreement to what was that one art agreement to look at the?
It's on the screen.
Authorization to release information. Thank you. It's
Come
tiny
on.
on my little phone. Can't
I'm
even
up.
read that. No, it's just my phone.
All good.
All right.
Yep. I try to keep these little training aids so this stuff becomes memorable. So it's seared in your brain. You don't have to overthink this. If a seller want to do play ball, authorization of release, purchase agreement. Everything else, we see them signed off at closing.
I don't have an authorization to release. Is that like a common Missouri document, or can I just chat GPT that?
I got one. Just shoot me a message. I'll get it for you.
All right.
It's very simple. The page letter basically gives us permission to speak to the bank on behalf of the borrower. Very simple.
Gotcha.
All right. Mistake number 4. Not closing in a trust. Now, this can be, some people like to do LLCs and put in their name and all this stuff. I don't do it that way. I'm just going by what I do. A lot of people do a lot of different things out here. I like to close in a trust. My property is one trust for one property. It's to me, it's if you don't do it that way, I feel like it's more due on sale exposure. It's a weaker asset protection, and it's proper structure to me because one, we close in a trust, so it goes straight from the seller straight to the trust. The trust owns the property. Now, our beneficiary on that trust may be an LLC. So now we have anonymity because the trust was created when we closed the deal. And we have asset protection because the beneficiary is the LLC. So that's kind of the way I do it. There's many ways you can structure this. You can do it multiple layers and a bunch of other funky stuff. That's not what this is about, but this is to keep it very simple. I like to keep them closed in a trust. You close in a trust too, Art, or you put them in LLCs?
Every property get their own trust.
Come on. Why would we want to do a trust though?
You said why would we want to do a trust?
Yeah.
A lot of reasons. A couple of them real quick. One, let's say somebody bumped their head on your property. Now they want to sue you. All right. So they're going to be suing the owner of the property. The owner of the property is the trust. So now they ain't dealing with everything else you got in your portfolio.
Come on.
That's one. Another one is this thing called the Garn-St. Germain Act of 1982 states that an exception to the due on sales clause would be if properties are transferred to estates for estate planning purposes, however it's written. So long story short, if we put these in a trust, then, legally they shouldn't be calling a due on sale clause. They shouldn't be. So that's just a couple of them. It's more than that.
Yeah, and I like the anonymity part because now they don't know who owns the property. If you got a tenant in there, like you said, they bumped their head, lo and behold, a fire happened, somebody died, all kind of stuff. If you get attacked, the only thing getting attacked is this trust. The trust owns the property, nothing else. It's not attached to your other assets and everything. They have to first find you to serve you. Good luck doing that. Then they got to find you to, go through that. It kind of just makes an extra layer of protection. You're not on public record as Chris Monroe got all this property. You will not find property with my name on it anywhere in the world because I don't put property in my name. It's a trust for that one property for one trust. You had something, Jimmy?
I did have a question about that because I think I do want to structure my next houses into trusts for the reasons that Art said. But I have my 2 rental properties in individual LLCs, and then I have another LLC that's a property management LLC.
So are do these properties have loans on them, or are they free and clear?
Free and clear. Well, actually, one is free and clear, and then one has a HELOC, and it is on collateral.
Yeah, that's the only thing when you start dealing with the loans. That's when it might get a little
Right.
tricky. I mean, I don't know your particular situation, but generally we like to close directly into the trust when we buy the property. So there is no middle, because now you're leaving a crumb to say, look, he used to own it. I think he still own it. He ain't the one. I came straight from Joe Smith, the seller, straight to 123 Buy Your House Trust.
So do you have these trusts open, ready to go for in case you have a house, or do you wait till you get a house locked up and then you quickly open up a trust for that house?
He said quickly. I like the words he said. They said quickly. You like that, Justin? So the trust is created at closing. That trust don't even exist until it's recorded.
Bingo.
It don't even exist. It's made up like everything else. Everything we do is made up. And that's the simplest way I can make this. I mean, I can say it in a long way, professional way, but the short way is all made up. We make it up, we create it, and it closes at the trust at the time of closing.
That's the key, I think, that you just explained right there, is that it happens at the closing. Because I didn't know if I should have all my ducks in a row. Like, that's a lot of things that you worry about if you've never done this before. So
the only duck you need is training to understand what you're supposed to do. That's it. That's the only duck we need to have in the row. But there's a lot of moving parts with this stuff, and there's a lot of strategies. A lot of people teach a lot of different ways. I'm just repeating what I do, how I learned it from the giants of the shoulders that I stand on. All right. So the trust. We're moving on. Mistake number 6: using the words subject to, or using big words or big lingo or jargon when you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna buy your house subject to. And they're like, what? Subject to? What is that? How about if we take over your payments? Or something more palatable for them. You don't want your sellers to be panicky and scared and like, oh man. You want to use homeowner-friendly language. Act like you're talking to a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old. Very simple baby language. Focus on solutions to their problems. The same thing we talk about each and every week, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, when we're talking about real estate. Focus on the solution. Don't get into using a bunch of big terms and trying to act like you're very smart. Because we all find out the smarter you think you are, you find out you still don't know nothing. There's so much more to know. So don't do that. Mistake number 6. Mistake number 7, not closing with an attorney or title company. You get a lot of legal mistakes. Improper paperwork. It increases your liability risk. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be safe, and it's a professional closing. You want to make sure your stuff is right, because you really don't have to go to title to close real estate deals. A lot of people don't know that. It's just the proper way to do it. One of the main reasons to do it is because you get what's called title insurance. And you get the legal protection of somebody else closing. You didn't just come in big bad investor. I'm going to be smooth and try to trick y'all. So use an attorney when applicable. Mistake number 8, skipping title and public works search. So meaning you didn't look and see any hidden liens. Every house I've ever bought in St. Louis, I want to say every house. Yeah, just about every house. No, every house. 90% of houses, let's put it like that, all have a Missouri sewer district lien on them. Nobody pays their sewer lien in Missouri. It's just a St. Louis thing. I don't know if it's like that everywhere else, but most people don't pay it, and they have a small lien on the property, sometimes small, sometimes large. Check that stuff before you close. What are the liens? Don't want to have any mechanics liens. And this is why we go through the attorney, like I said, in mistake number 7. They might have code violations, utility balances. Like I said, that utility, the sewer bill stays with the house here in Missouri. They put it to the owner of the house, regardless who owns the house. And this is another reason, coming back to what we talked about earlier about the trust. If it's in a trust, they're sending that bill to the trust, not to me in my personal name. Whatever they're doing, I don't want that stuff coming to me personally as Chris Monroe, a public figure on the internet. Hell no. So always run full searches. You do this when you do your deals, Art?
Yeah, title search right away. Usually I do the right away. On wholesale deals, I try to hold off until I find a buyer. But on a terms deal, I try to get my title search in right away. Sometimes I forget to do it right away on the terms deal.
Makes sense. So yeah, these creative deals, really look and find out what's going on. Make sure there's no hidden liens and encumbrances, any kind of funky stuff. You may not know. They might have code violations. That may not show up on there. They got tall grass, or they got problems with the city or the county or the municipality. You go find out they got an $800 lien with the municipality for tall grass for last year. You be like, what? I ain't paying that. Now, you might pay that, or you might buy it with an exception and leave it in place if there is a lien or something on the property. So the biggest thing, though, with this is do your research before closing, because you don't know what you're buying sometimes. You want to know what you're buying. Let's see here what they say. Will the title search cover all the information needed to search for? Not in all cases. Like I say, you might have code violations, utility balances, things like that are not recorded on the title, but they are attached to the property at the municipal level. Especially if you're in a place like St. Louis with 90 or plus municipalities. They all got their own rules. They all got their own little governments. They all got their own little stuff. Like I'm dealing with Overland. They got some junk over there. Oh, we can't do Airbnb. I'm like, where you say that at? We ain't see that nowhere. It's not on your website. What are you talking about? So that's a whole nother story. So always know what they got. Very important. Let's see. We got a couple more here. Mistake number 9. Ooh, one of my favorites. Incorrect hazard insurance. You can run the risk of getting denied claims. You can have lender issues because they really be on your head. They'll do what's called forced place insurance. What's that about, Justin? You know anything about forced place insurance?
Yeah, it's when the insurance company, no, I'm sorry, with the bank, the lender doesn't have a record of the insurance that's in place. And if they don't have a record, they're like, hey, we're going to go ahead and activate this insurance on you. It's going to be probably higher than you already paying if you currently have insurance. And they're going to send you a bill for that, which could be thousands of dollars.
Exactly. They get the highest rate on the market. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That insurance don't even cover you. That covers the asset for the bank. That has nothing to do with you. So definitely don't allow them to put hazard insurance. Go make sure you get a brand new insurance policy. Add your borrower as an additional insured on that insurance policy. And, make sure you're good there. Let's see here. Property is unprotected if it don't have insurance. And the insurance must be structured right. And when I say structured right, like I said, have that borrower, the same where their name is on their loan, is the way their name needs to reflect on the additional insured, and make sure that lender is on there as well as a payee, insured loss payee. It's a lot of stuff. These are one of the reasons why you get this due on sale clause, this damn insurance. So you want to get your paperwork right. Any thoughts around that insurance, Art?
Yeah, I found out about this forced place insurance firsthand. This is a really good list you got going on, Chris, because these are legit mistakes that I've made for sure.
100%. Yeah, that forced place ain't no joke. I had it put on. I think this happened 2019 or something. They sent me a letter to my forced place insurance, and I don't know why they did it. I think my insurance company just didn't give them the new evidence of insurance, or EOI, evidence of insurance. They didn't send it to them for some reason, and they put forced place insurance. I was like, damn, what is that? It was like $350 a month. I'm like, what's this? Nah, man, cancel that. We got insurance. I pay insurance. So that's no fun.
So that's what happened with me too. I didn't know I was supposed to make sure that they send the EOI in, so they never got that, and so they put some insurance in place, and it's only like $135 is what they charging for that on this one.
Yeah, but
I gotta get that out of there. I need all of that.
Right, but that ain't even just the part about the insurance. It's the part about you ain't even covered in that insurance. That's just for them.
Well, I actually got insurance. I hadn't had insurance on that property for a while. I just never reported it, so I don't know how that even worked. Like if something was to happen, but I've taken care of it since then.
100%. That's what we got. That reminds me, I need to add insurance on something too. Damn, I'm slacking myself, but they can backdate it a couple days. All right, so that's what we got for that one. Mistake number 9: incorrect hazard insurance. So get the right insurance, ladies and gentlemen. Mistake number 10: no online mortgage access. You want to get the login to their portal. You can go right in and access and see what their payment is, see what kind of notifications that are coming up, because you want to get the alerts. You want to have control of what's going on. And if it's not set up, go set it up. I bought houses from people where they didn't even have it set up at all. I went in and created their whole profile for them. They were older people and they didn't have the portal at all. They were just using the traditional mail. I said, no, we're putting this online, baby. And we put them on auto pay, and they were all set up from there. So you can do a lot from inside of a portal when you're dealing with these mortgages. Are you set up like that with yours, Art?
Yes, and one thing I definitely want to add on this that I've also learned the hard way is when you getting this online access to their mortgage payments, you need to also take over their two-factor authentication, because if you end up like some of these portals will kick you out and make you need to re-verify like after 30 days or 90 days or something, and if you don't have the two-factor authentication set up on your phone, then basically every time you need to get access, you're going to have to go get in contact with that seller, have them send you the code at the exact time that you're trying to send it to them, because there's a time limit on it. It's a pain in the ass, so just make sure you get that done right away.
100%, Art, and that goes right into our next slide, I believe. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Art. Justin, what you got?
I was gonna say I've had a situation in the past where I did get access to the portal and everything. It did not allow me to set up auto pay through their system. It was Wells Fargo was the bank, and it wouldn't let me set up auto pay through the portal for whatever reason. Apparently, you can only do auto pay through the if you have a Wells Fargo account already, which I didn't. So what I ended up doing was going through my bank and setting up an auto pay system, as a I guess a bill pay. Yeah. So I had to set that up, but that was interesting. I actually thought I was gonna be able to set up auto pay in the back end portal. So if anybody runs into that, I've ran through that issue. And then I've also had an issue with that where I was sending money to the wrong department. So that was crazy or whatever. So we was able to get that fixed and stuff. I had to send a letter for the lady credit or whatever. An apology letter. Yeah.
That's crazy work. So that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It gets very deep when you start talking about buying houses creatively. The little details you don't know about, because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. You don't know. So mistake number 10, no online mortgage access, leans right into our next mistake, number 11. Mailing address not updated. Really, all contact information need to be updated. You need to make sure the mailing address is changed to where you're at. If you got a mailbox like I have to get all our mail, you want to update the phone number, the two-factor authenticator like Art just said. You want to get the email address, all of that. I even make an email address for each one of my properties. I know that's getting in the weeds and getting meticulous, but there's nothing wrong with having an email for that property. Anything come in on that email address is for that particular property. But that's getting into the weeds when you're starting to manage a lot of houses and stuff. But that's kind of how we set this up. You want to update all the contact information. Make sure the seller's not receiving any mail, because the seller might panic and say, "Oh, what's this they're sending? They're sending me as a bill due," and it causes lender confusion. And matter of fact, the guy I met at a meetup last week, he was telling me about something like this. The seller ended up getting something in the mail. He didn't update it, and they were doing a due on sale clause because the seller told the lender that he sold the property. Why you believe that? The seller told him, say, "Oh yeah, I sold that house." And the bank looking like, "What? You didn't get our permission or pay us off. Where's our money?" But they had to do some tricky stuff and get that all fixed. But very important to get the mailing up and all the other contact information updated. Any thoughts around that?
I need to open up a P.O. box for sure.
Yeah, I got a UPS mailbox. I pay for it yearly. I think it's like $300 a year or something like that. And we just get all the mail sent to there. No reason to be getting mail at the house because, it's defaulted. And this goes for your tax statements as well. If your tax statements are getting forwarded and mailed to your thing. So that's very important. Mistake number 12, not being honest, being a liar. This is one Jimmy likes. He wants to be 100% honest. There's nothing wrong with being honest, but you want to be honest. You want to tell them. We're not sneaking and telling anybody anything or lying to them and telling them we're going to do something we're not going to do. We're telling them all this stuff. In fact, it's in the paperwork. Everything's disclosed in the paperwork. We want to make sure we're not tricking anybody or having them do something they're not supposed to do. And it builds trust. Plus, you can get referrals from these people. You know, when you're honest and do good business, get a referral from these sellers, get a referral from these tenant buyers that you're installing in properties. Make them do a small video with you so that you can get future business. What you think about that, Justin?
Yeah, I totally agree. I try to be honest, transparent, as much as possible and stuff. And you know, if I don't know, I tell them I don't know. That wouldn't stop you from doing business with me, would it?
You don't know, you don't know. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see here. Kellen say, that's how I was close to a deal. The owner was doing a rent to own and the tenant was getting all the foreclosure mail. Ooh. Change and update that mail, ladies and gentlemen. Important. And so just the final takeaway, subject to is powerful. Mistakes are definitely avoidable if you just use this little structure that I created here to kind of remind you of some of the things you need to do. Education, what we do every week, is important. Systems, what I love, the only way I can stay straight with all this, equals success. Find the paperwork and everything you need as far as the authorization to release information, purchase agreements, all the documents, everything you're thinking about wanting at futurecashflowclub.com. Any questions on the lesson? Questions, comments, concerns? Jimmy?
No questions here. I think those are really solid mistakes to avoid, and I think I can relate to a few of those.
Have you made any of those mistakes?
Very close to, and yeah, both.
100%. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what we got there, ladies and gentlemen. So very important. Understand how the game is played and play it to win. Don't just be out here trying stuff, trying to stumble to the finish line. Avoid the 12 biggest mistakes. And it's probably more. I'm sure there's more. There is more for sure. But these are just the most common ones that I see. And I've made some of these mistakes too. You know, I'm not immune, but this is part of the training. You got to learn to let it burn like a perm. So with all that being said, Jimmy, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What have you learned today?
I learned a lot of terminology. I learned that, you know, you can open up a trust at closing, so I don't have to worry about that. You know what? Actually, in general, you shouldn't worry about a lot of the things that isn't even a problem for you yet. You know, just work things one step at a time and don't get ahead of yourself. It's probably the best lesson I've learned overall.
Especially if you're doing what's called wholesaling. Excuse me.
Yeah.
If you're doing what's called wholesaling, or if you're doing what's called bird dogging, you don't have to worry about all this stuff. You're just assigning a deal and moving out of the way anyway.
Right. I went into this whole real estate learning venture becoming a bird dog, but I got way ahead of myself and I tried to become a closer. So I just got to stick to my position and just play it well. And, you know, and not worry about those answers that I don't know, and not try to answer questions that I don't have authority to, answer. Just, you know, focus on asking the right questions at the right time to uncover pain and to get past the pain.
Shouts to my guy, Jerry Malcolm. He has a saying for situations like this. It's called position before submission. That's what he used to do in fighting. So yeah, you got to be in the right position before you can even apply any hold, before you can try to choke them out, before you can do any of this stuff. You need to already be in the right position before you try to jab them, whatever you're going to do.
Right.
Jimmy, let me ask you this. What do you feel like was the major difference between, like, you've seen me, you know, pull up to two of your situations and close two of them. What do you feel like? Because literally you have one lady who straight said, I'm not interested in creative at all whatsoever. And you like, when I came in, I said the exact same thing to her, and she went for what I said. So what do you think is the difference between what you're telling them, what I'm telling them, and me getting the thing done?
What are the main differences? I think you're pinpointing what they're saying, and you're asking the questions that you want. You're letting the seller guide you into asking the questions to basically overcome their objections, basically, where I'm basically asking questions to just get them to tell me more, and it's not really leading directly to what their pain points are, I guess. Sorry for the long-winded way to explain it, but I don't know. I think you just have a great way of saying things that are commanding and straight to the point, where somebody like me who doesn't have the confidence can tend to bring up more questions when I answer questions. So,
yeah, makes sense. Cool. Brock King, what did you learn today?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Definitely, I'd say I haven't done a sub two. I know the details about it, but I've always kind of been hesitant on just getting the mortgage called. Quite frankly, I knew you could put into a trust. I knew about the Garden Saint Germain Act, but it's kind of something that I haven't really felt too comfortable with. So seeing that other people, like, it's more common for people to actually buy those and keep them as rentals is definitely something that I've been missing, because I don't have a whole lot of people here that really hold. In my network, at least, a lot of them they'll wholesale them, they won't keep them. So it's nice to see that you guys actually keep them. I did have a question.
Sure.
How do you? I guess a twofold question. One, do you guys wholesale the sub 2 deals, or do you mostly keep them?
No, generally not. I mean, I have, but generally not going to be assigning a sub 2 deal.
Yeah.
Why would I not assign a sub 2 deal? Because say if I go get the deal, right, and I know a guy named Jimmy, and he been wanting to buy a house for the longest, and I say, Jimmy, I got it all structured out, man. It's a $20,000 entry fee. You can get into this house. And Jimmy says, I got $20,000, burn a hole in my pocket. He drops the $20,000. He closes on the house. I'm already connected with the seller. Oh, yeah, seller, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take over the payments. We all good, right? Jimmy goes and starts trucking the loan. 6 months go by. It's all good. A year go by. It's all good. And somewhere in year 2, Jimmy start making that payment. Yep. And guess who's going to call me? The seller. Hey, man, y'all ain't paying my bill. What's going on? And what can I do to Jimmy to make him pay that bill?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing. So this is why I don't assign subject to deals, per se.
Yeah.
That's not saying that Jimmy would do any of that, but it can happen. It's part of life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially knowing how buyers are. Buyers are, I have some good buyers in Indy, but buyers are as fickle as realtors are, and definitely as contractors. So some of them will flake on you, just like the rest of the people will. And sometimes it's, I had a buyer go bankrupt. They didn't even tell me. I was like, wait, hold up. So you lost all your properties? Yes. Damn. Like, what's happening?
Life's gone life. And so the other parts of that too, Brock, not to say not to do it. There are strategies to do what you're asking about, which is usually sell it on a wraparound mortgage, where we can foreclose on them in the event that they don't perform. Because we have legal recourse. And a lot of people don't understand that when they sell a house subject to, they're really just giving their house away, really. They're giving it to somebody, believing that they're going to make that payment, because they don't have any legal obligation to make that payment. They just have a moral obligation to make that payment.
Yeah. How do you go about doing the so I've dealt with ones where it's seller finance, which is the only really creative finance I really do. How do you go about doing a wrap when there's already a mortgage in place like that for a sub 2? I mean, I feel like your payment, what you make, would have to be a significant amount to cover the underlying mortgage on top of still cash flowing. Like, how do you go about doing a deal like that when there's already a mortgage in place?
Look at Justin. So you getting in the weeds now, Brock. So yeah, it could definitely be done. It just depends on the deal. So I don't like to do a wrap where there's extra money in the middle if I don't have to. We like to buy it for what they owe and take over payments for what they're paying, which is called a mirror wrap. We're identical to the underlying debt. Not saying that's always going to be the case, but that's usually what we're going to go for if we had to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So we're not doing some big number way above their payments $1,200. Oh yeah, Mr. Seller, I'm gonna promise you $1,800, and I'm gonna try to go get somebody to get it for me from $2,200. You can do that, but I ain't doing that. So yeah,
That's what I'll say. What's SpongeBob say? Imagination.
5 minutes later.
Imagination. It's what they agree to.
And this comes back to being a good negotiator, a good closer. You know, a lot of times, and I see people here in my market in St. Louis trying to do creative deals. They're offering sellers way too much. They're coming in way too hot. Their entry fees way too high. Oh, I got to be $37,000 to take this house over. Who giving $37,000 on a $100,000 house? That's
that should even 8, 9, 10% at max. That's insane.
Chris, I got a house for you.
What you do? I got a house for you. Hell, if you want to drop that kind of bread, I got houses too. Let's go.
Actually, no, I'm gonna keep it between me and Justin. Justin's been knocking them down. So
there you go.
Yeah, we got a competition that's going in the group. You know, it's really between me and Art, but we're gonna extend it out to everybody. It's who can take down the most houses this year for loan balance only. I'm about to have my first loan balance only this year. It got under contract this year. Loan balance only.
I got one like that right now under contract. So we're going to see how this goes. Woo.
Hey, Chris, Justin going to hit me up talking about, I got one, it's loan balance only, but the only thing is I got to give him $2,000 at closing. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Do that count?
Hell no, that don't count.
If that count, I got to count the one I just closed last week. I gave them $3,500 at closing, so do that count?
Hell no. Said no money down.
Damn. Well, that's the game of creative.
Nothing to seller is what we're referring to be clear.
Nothing to the seller at closing, meaning buying it, taking it over for whatever they owe, and rolling with it.
Yeah. He tried to sneak that in.
I got to move
to What if it's a wrap and you giving them nothing at the closing table, but you making payments to them over time?
That's nothing down at closing to them.
No. So Justin, it's up to you now. What have you learned today?
What I learned today, I learned it was that second slide you had on there where you had said, let me see. Check escrow shortages. I've never thought about that. That was coming down the pipeline being a problem for me. I'm glad you've pointed that out, Chris. Another one in the tank.
Yeah, that's it. There's so many little things to this stuff. It blows me away. All right. Yeah. And last but not least, Mr. Art. What have you learned today?
So what I got here is you mentioned this before, but I don't think I ever wrote it down. But when you said what happens if what's supposed to happen doesn't happen, that's really good to know.
As a close for the seller, just really planting that seed. What are we going to do if that don't work out?
Yeah, and then you were summing the whole thing up. You said find out where they want to go, find out what they're afraid of. Don't be afraid to turn a knife, and then offer a clear solution to the problem.
That's it. That's closing 101 in this game. Very simple. Understand them first. Before you try to go close them and try to solve their problem, we got to identify their problem. I don't even know what you're trying to do. What you looking to do? You just want to walk away and be done? Sign right here. If you're like, oh, I need $50,000 and not a penny less, and I need it all cash, and I need it all fast. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. And this comes back to something Jimmy said earlier. about, or I guess with Jimmy and Justin's thing they were working. Most people you're coming across is going to say no to terms just for the elephant in the room. Most people are going to say no originally, and I don't mind that because I'm expecting you to say no. If you say yes, I'm like, wow, they must really be motivated. But most people are going to say no from the rip. That's the job of the closer to understand what we need to do to close them to make that no a yes. Is that right, Justin?
100%. I mean, sometimes they not. You just get them under some paperwork and stuff, and go back and renegotiate. Hey, look, we looked at the situation. The number's not working. We can send you over a form right now to pretty much say, hey, we're gonna walk away, and you can let this thing go to foreclosure, or we could do this thing creatively if you think that might help you out.
We have a solution for you, and it may not work for you, but it's worked for others in the past. We can just take over your payments. Oh no, I can't do that. What makes you say that? Oh, because my bank ain't gonna let me do it. So if there was a way that the bank would accept our payment, I mean, would you ready to get the process started today? Is that the only thing you can think of that would stop us from doing this deal? You got to ask the tough questions when you're talking about closing. So with all that being said, Jimmy, guess what?
Oh man.
Before we land.
Hello?
Hey, you left a voicemail, somebody named Jimmy, something about my house?
Yeah, this is Jimmy. Hey, is this Chris?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, Chris. Yeah, I called you earlier. I was wondering about your house. Have you talked to the bank yet to stop your foreclosure?
No, not yet. I was gonna try to call him later. Yeah, I ain't talked to him yet. How'd you know? How you get my number?
There's a list that I found you on, a list for foreclosures. That's how I found your number.
Oh wow, I've been getting a lot of strange calls lately. I was wondering, but how'd you
Yeah.
find my phone number?
Oh yeah, it's easy to find. Just Google it, But are you interested in selling your house?
You know what? I tried to sell it last year, but I took it off the market, and so yeah, I would sell it. I mean, are you trying to buy it or something? Or are you a real estate agent trying to list it?
No, I'm just here to help people out with their real estate problems. If you're looking to sell it, I can help you out with that. What do you think you would look to get for it?
300,000.
300,000? Okay. How'd you come up with that number?
That's kind of what it's worth. It's worth a little bit more than that, but I owe something close to that, so I'm just trying to make sure I can get enough to get the loan paid off and
Yeah.
I can have some money in my pocket after the fact because I did a lot of work to this house.
Okay. So like, you did a lot of work. What's the condition of the house? Like, what have you done?
No, it's perfect. I fixed a whole bunch of stuff. I put a new roof on here. We finished the basement. The basement was unfinished. We put about I don't know $20,000 or $30,000 into this house, so it's in great shape now. Though.
I see. Okay, so you're looking for 300,000. Are you looking for cash?
Cash, yeah, I love cash.
Okay, so you're saying if we can get you $300,000 cash,
take that question out your line of questioning, Jimmy. Don't ever ask if you want cash. Well, you can ask me what you want. I ain't asking no question like that.
Yeah, I knew I fell into it hard right then and there.
But continue. Go ahead.
Okay, so you're looking to sell your house, huh? How much you say you owe on that house?
Like 250, something like that.
250, huh? Okay. Well, your foreclosure's in like 2 weeks. Have you looked for anybody else to buy the house yet, or have you had any offers?
No, I was gonna reach out to and see if the VA can stop the auction for me because I'm a veteran.
Okay. Have you talked to anybody, like, or are you just thinking about it? Because that's like in 2 weeks.
I was gonna start calling them this week.
Okay. Well, what happens if that falls through? Do you have a backup plan?
No, I got a couple people that have been calling me trying to buy it, and I'm just trying to see who can give me the best number.
Okay, and you're looking for 300, but you owe 250.
Right, something like that. Might be a little bit more because they got fees and stuff. They throw a lot of junk fees on there when you go into foreclosure.
Okay, can you wiggle on that 300?
Can I wiggle?
Mm-hmm. Could you come down a little?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do you mean? What could you pay for it? It's a perfect house.
Would you take $250 for what you owe?
That's what I owe on it.
Yeah, if you're willing to take $250 cash, we can take care of that right now, and you can walk away clean.
Well, let me just keep your number here, Jimmy. I'm gonna weigh my options, and I'll try to give you a call back. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Have a good day.
I keep saying cash.
Right, Justin. Grade your greatest student.
That was terrible. I'm not getting any better.
I mean, we just got to stick to the, the 4 pillars. If we just focus on that, everything could be all right. But, Jimmy, let's just practice with the JV and stuff for now. You know what I mean? Just, get them out. Listen to their situation. Are you willing to sell? Listen to a little bit of their situation. Hey, I have a partner. He's more of an expert in these things. Let me get him on the phone real quick.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think I know my position well now. You're absolutely right. I'm not a closer, but I'm really good at developing relationship and keeping people interested, and that's it. So if I can keep them interested and I can develop a relationship, I'd be like, hey, I know somebody who can help you. Let me call my friend Justin. Do you mind if I can hook you up with him? And then just pass the ball and just let it sink into the net.
My man Brock said C-. Why you give him a C-, Brock?
Sorry. That's actually pretty gracious, nice, honestly.
I mean, I thought your intro wasn't bad. When we start saying cash and you were said $300K, I said, oh, it's going down the road.
I fell apart quick right there.
Yeah, you should have really dug it. I said the biggest thing for me is you should have really dug into what happened to get you to the point where you're going to foreclosure.
Come on.
You kind of just, you need you gotta there's a reason someone's about to lose a 300. If it really is worth $300K, there's a reason that someone's about to lose $300K house. And
right,
$250. If that's they just bought the house like 2.5 years ago probably.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing for me. At least that.
Mr. Seller, how did you get in this situation? You never found out how I got to this situation. What am I trying to do? And that's the most important thing. Like Justin said, stick to the 4 pillars. But the most important of them, of the timeline, condition, motivation, and price, is motivation. Why are you getting to this situation? How did you get to this situation? What are you looking to accomplish? We don't know how I got to this point. It could be an error at the bank. It can be I'm just a lazy bum. Maybe I lost my job. Maybe my wife left me. My dog did. Whatever. I don't know. But it's too many unknowns around the motivation, which is the most important thing. That's where our questioning need to be more so on versus trying to beat them up on price. Is that making sense, Jimmy?
Yeah.
You try to beat them up on price and close them on the first call. Matter of fact, I don't even like talking about a lot of numbers too quick. I like to understand the situation before I get into it.
Same. Because you can't build rapport. If you understand the situation, then you're able to build rapport. That's how you get the big price deductions, because you can't just lowball somebody without building some kind of rapport. Now, I lowball the fuck out of realtors. I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's a real estate agent listing, I'm gonna lowball you. I don't need rapport. It's just not
sure.
But your seller, you can't do that. You're not gonna get 40, 50K, 80K price deduction. And without understanding, you're damn, that's crazy. I'm like, wow, man, that's crazy, man. What happened? You just bought the house, what, a few years ago? Yeah, like that. Wow, why are you about to lose a home? That's kind of odd. Oh, okay. It's just,
you gotta let them tell their stories. So important. Because what's the most important thing to a person, Jimmy?
What is the most important thing to a person?
Yes.
What they get out of the deal?
No. Themselves. What do they like to talk about the most?
Right, themselves. Makes sense.
Like to talk about themselves. You have to open the door and let them talk about themselves. Versus just how much you want for the house. Would you take lower? Would you sell it for what you owe? Would you take cash close fast? You sound like a greedy investor. You're gonna get hung up on doing that.
That's true. And the funny thing is, I'm usually not like that on the phone.
That's not even your personality.
Yeah.
Even you, Jimmy.
It's hard. It's hard when you're on stream, you know.
It's in your mind. You just
It
gotta,
is.
The way you train is the way you fight.
Oh,
come on. It's free real estate for those who know. Mr. Art, what do you think about that call?
Yeah, the cash comment was pretty crazy, no doubt. That was crazy. And then when you asked him how much did he owe, and he said 250, I thought at that point maybe you could have went and asked him, what he sell for what he owed, considering the situation, just to see what he said, But you did ask, but you started out strong and then it kind of like tapered off. I'll say that.
yeah.
So just keep on working at it, man. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
You came in a lot stronger than I expected. You came in with it. You didn't fall for none of my booby trap. I set some traps for you.
I mean, yeah.
Get my number. You know that. How you get my number anyway? How you know I'm on a list? What's that? You gotta come up with some explanation for that common stuff.
I tried to take control of the situation. Like I just remember how Justin did. Just like, hey, like let's focus on the matter at hand here.
That's all that's important. All that other stuff, you're just wasting energy.
But yeah, I fell apart real quick. I hear that. Just stick to the problem at hand. What is their problem? Get to the motivation first. And I jumped straight to the price.
Which is nothing wrong with talking about price, but I think we spend way too much energy on that. That dude don't know you from a can of paint. He don't even like you yet. He's talking to Art on another line and Justin on another line and Brock on another line and me on another line. He talked to you. He gonna be like, "No, I'm calling one of these other guys back. They sounded look like they knew what they were talking about."
Most times it's a smoke screen. Most time the price is not the reason they're selling. Oh, yeah,
right.
It's a smoke screen. The screen where people will call and texting them, direct mail, etc. Because a lot of these people get blown up unless it's like a government list, but most times it's a smoke screen. If you can master the first part, like the acquisitions and marketing, if it makes you feel any better, man, like once you learn how to close deals, like get on a contract and then start building whether you buy or sell yourself or assign or whatever, the dispo part is a lot easier. Buyers are way easier to talk to. They're now you still got to screen them and qualify them, but I find that dispo is way easier than the average side, which is why some wholesalers just do dispo. But
they do the easy part. Say buyers are buying. You get it low enough, they'll buy any damn thing. You get a $300,000 house for $10, I'll buy it. You're a buyer. Everybody's a buyer. They just don't know it yet. If the number low enough, you're all a buyers.
How many like JV deals or bird dog deals does it take for one to like really figure this out? Because like that soft skill, that closing, there's an art to it, and I don't feel like I can ever figure it out unless I'm just like falling on my face 1,000 times. But I don't want to do that. I want to close these deals, So like as you learn through these JVs, like how long do you think it takes? Is it pretty like dependent on the person, or is it like usually after like a deal or two?
Definitely depends on the person. So I closed my first deal August of 2018, my first wholesale deal. I closed my first creative deal December of 2018, same year, running marketing. I had so much marketing coming in, and people kept saying, "Oh, you can buy a sub too," and this and that. And I'm like, man, I'm just wholesaling. I don't know nothing about all that. I'm wholesaling. I'm making checks, 7,000 here, 12,000 here, 15,000 here, 9,000 here. Whoa, look at all this money. And then when a subject to did come across, or a deal come across my desk that a lady needed to sell, but the wholesale number was too low and it didn't work, and she was open to doing something creative, I had the funds to buy the creative deal. It was $3,500 out of pocket. I already accumulated a bunch of money before that. I was ready for the deal. Does that make sense? If you got some money stacking up and a deal comes across like, hey, I got like 60 grand sitting in my account doing nothing with it, and I can buy a house for $3,500, you can take the risk on it then at that point because you got the money.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't, if it's considered a risk, even though that property was no risk, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
I guess your financial position will definitely affect your state of mind, which will definitely affect how you come across in these deals or when you sit down at the table.
Come on
So,
with it.
I was telling Jimmy when I was working at a dealership and stuff, I was literally out there selling cars and didn't have a car, catching the bus back and forth to work. And I remember reading the Closer Survival Guide, and I used to repeat to myself, $1,000 is not a lot of money. And you have to feel that it's not a lot of money, so when it rolls off your tongue, it's easier to ask for.
Yeah, for sure. So the floor is
They
open.
can feel that.
Yeah, they can feel everything you're doing. If you're scared and they're like, oh, I don't know. I think we can buy it. I don't know. And they look at you like, hell, I ain't selling that dude my house. They can feel that. If you fake and phony, they can feel that.
And I would say this to how long does it take? It depends on the person. I had already had experience with sales and everything, and I just had to, brush up on the type of conversation that was being had around housing. But I know the pillars of selling. Jimmy, if when we went into that house, I had sat straight down, and Jimmy said when he was over there the last 2 days, he never sat down. And I'm like, deals are not made standing up. People have to sit down. That's just one of the rules.
You got to get their undivided attention because they can be on their phone. They can be doing all of other stuff. No, we need to talk about this right now. Give me 5 to 10 minutes of your time. We can get this knocked out. I got another appointment coming up, by the way, just so you know. I'm already planting the seed that I ain't going to be here long. I got to go help this other lady right down the street right after this. So we ain't going to be here long. We ain't been in no 3 hours talking about nothing.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, it depends on the person and everything. I mean, you can, if you do, 10 JVs, 12 JVs a year, and it takes you a year to get before you start taking down your own deals, you can still make pretty good money, doing, one JV deal a month, let's say. That's 12 a year. And if you getting, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 an assignment, possibly, right? That could be, more than you would make at a traditional job. Hands down.
My best deal so far has been a JV deal in East Cleveland. I'll never do East Cleveland again because it's hard to find buyers out there. But that's still my best deal after like 4 years is that deal, and that I'll come close, but I still have not gone over that price point.
What was that gross profit on that deal?
34.2. And like to change.
Come on with it, Brock. Let me hold 50,000.
It's great. She found me. Shout Irene. She found me on wholesaling Discord. Something told I posted about. I think I commented under someone's like they were asking about a tile company. A good tile company over in Columbus, Ohio. And she hit me up. She's like, "Hey, I saw your post. Like, are you a buyer? Do you wholesale?" I'm like, "Oh, I mostly wholesale." Okay, I have a property. Like, you have a buyer in Cleveland? I'm like,
I can find one.
Right? Yeah, I didn't know what Cuyahoga County was. I'm like, I know Franklin and Lucas. I don't know about what Cuyahoga, LeBron, Cleveland. That's really it.
That's it.
LeBron?
All I know about Cleveland is LeBron. I know the beard is there now. Fear the beard. James Harden just got traded. That's all I know.
They won too. They won the other night. You know that? He got traded, man.
I did, but it's just crazy because he talking about he wanted to go there. Like, what are you doing?
He gonna win there. They gonna kill again on the East,
bro. Oh, dude, there's no comp to like Tatum hurt. Halliburton is still hurt, recovering. Like, the Hawks. AD is not going to stay healthy, and I think he sent out most of the. I think he sent out the rest of the season anyways. So yeah, there's no real comp.
That's a good point.
The East is much easier to get to the finals than it is on the West. There's too much killers over there.
Shit. So always has been in my opinion.
So that's what we got, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully everybody got something good out of tonight. Any other comments, questions, concerns? The floor is open.
Comment I got is just for Jimmy. I would say based on where you at right now, the quickest way to get a check in this thing would be if you just you're really good at talking to people Just focus on getting that same 4 pieces of information on your first call, and then just schedule a follow-up with them from there. And then, at that point, you just figure out what you're going to do from there, whether you're going to tag somebody in, whatever you're going to do. Just get that first 4 pieces of information on that first call and keep that simple. And then you were asking, how long does it take to be able to close these deals? Like Chris said, it went really fast for him. Only input I have on that would be what I could recommend that can help speed up your learning on it would be if you study a lot of closing calls surrounding this topic, as well as when you're listening to those calls, writing down the objections that you hear the seller coming up with, and listen to how the person who's responding to them, listen to what they're saying, because those are the exact words that is like going to bridge us to getting these deals closed. And if you just study that stuff, that's going to speed up you getting that for sure.
Thank you for that. Hell yeah.
And that's the answer, to be honest. When you say how long is it going to take, you'll know. It's actually easy to close wholesale deals. The problem, you're trying to close these creative, complex deals. You're doing like Justin. Justin said, I'm coming in for the hard stuff. He said, I don't want nothing easy. Give me the tough, hard stuff everybody else can't do. And that's a strategy. But a wholesale, simple deal, cash deal is very simple. Not rocket science. You're not trying to figure out principal, interest, taxes, insurance, hazard insurance, all this other stuff. You're not worried about all that. Arrears. We're not dealing with all that if you're talking about wholesaling. If you're talking about creative, that's where your learning curve is. So yeah, if you're doing cash deals, you can do that tomorrow. You start talking about creative, there is a learning curve. Make sense?
Yeah, I have a hot lead, but I can't convince him to come down on his price, and he wants cash, so might have to pass the ball here.
Why are you convincing anybody to do anything? Why are you convincing him to do anything?
I'm not trying to convince him to do anything. He wants 70 cash, and he won't come down. So
why?
And it's not worth it.
Why
70.
do you want 70,000?
That's a good question. We got to dig into.
It's always a question. No matter what you throw at me, you notice that, Jimmy? No matter what you ever throw at me, I come back with a question every time without question.
He believes it's worth 70,000. That's how far I've gotten so far. He believes that he can get 78,000 out of it, and that's what it's worth. That's what he wants out of it.
Who told him that?
That's what he believes. That's what he wants. He owns a bunch of houses. Like, this guy owns quite a portfolio. And he's convinced that this house is worth 70 because of the work he's put into it. And I don't think it's worth 70 based off the market. It's just gonna sit there.
So it sounds like to me you don't need to sell it. Am I getting that correct? That's a question for him. Sounds like to me you don't even need to sell it. Am I getting
yeah.
See, everything you say is still a question, no matter what. I'm coming with a question every time.
Right.
So that's the game we play, my man. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I was like,
I got one more comment. I think it was Brock was asking. He was saying it was nice for him to see that it was other people out here buying and keeping sub 2 deals. My comment to that would be, I don't know if you read this book called Richest Man in Babylon before or not, but if you have, or if you haven't, long story short, that's the reason why I got into buying term deals.
That's it.
Okay, I've heard that book.
It's a good one.
You see Richest Man in Babylon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It basically talks about just, buying assets, and once you have enough, then you don't really have to like go to work to generate money. I was like, man, that's like kind of like what I want to do for real.
Right.
It was like either get into real estate or stocks that pay dividends. And I was like, well, I was already doing real wholesaling at that time.
So you telling me for a book under $6, you can change your life?
Yes.
Damn.
For sure. Pretty wild.
Like,
The Richest Man in Babylon.
It's a good book.
You do the marketing, you definitely come across these opportunities quite, at least especially in the Midwest, in my opinion. So I come across these a lot in like Indianapolis, anywhere in Indiana really. And I'd be like, that's a really nice house. I'm like, I don't know if I want to take that down or not. So yeah, I appreciate that for sure.
This book is 100 years old. So yep, go get it.
Damn.
Written or published originally in 1926, 100 years ago. 100 years ago, buddy. All right, so hopefully y'all got something good to take away. Watch the replay on this thing here, packed full of nuggets, and have yourself a great rest of your Super Bowl Sunday. Is the Super Bowl over yet?
Almost.
Shit.
Score 29-13. Seattle was winning.
Damn, they blowing them out the water. Oh, this game over. It's 2 minutes.
It's been like that all game, man.
It's game over. Seahawks win. Congratulations to the Seahawks. All right, Jimmy, go knock them dead this week. Get some more leads generated, and you're going to make it, my man. I believe in you.
Yeah, Justin, you might be getting a call from me soon.
I think Justin hopped off already.
Okay. All right. Thanks, you guys, for the motivation and the advice. Be back next week.
There you go. So we'll see you next time. Do what you do. Be who you be. And I'll see you before you see me.
So I want to get into real estate, but don't know where to start.
Well, what I would say is to join the Future Cash Flow Club. It's a community of investors where we talk about wholesaling, we talk about creative deal structuring, buying houses subject to, all of the creative stuff that everybody's talking about. You don't need a real estate license or any of that.
Wow, where do I sign up?
Well, I would say go to futurecashflowclub.com. That's futurecashflowclub.com. You can even get a free trial. Try it out today. I don't know what you've been doing. You've been asleep? Let me wake you up with something. Straight up. Yeah. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Chris Monroe. R to the O-E. I flip houses, rent cars, and make money. You know I'm not no motherfucker dummy. This how we do.